I got a little wisdom for your ass today. Preach balance, provoke thought, promote open-mindedness. Wisdom is your perspective on life, your sense of balance. What if we can magnify our own lens of perception? Bob Marley said wisdom is greater than silver and gold. That's what I'm about. Seek wisdom, develop oneself, attack life, and get it. I'm the Wisdom Dropper. Hello and welcome to the Wisdom Dropper podcast. My name's Daniel Bronze and I've got a little wisdom for your ass today. I'm going to be talking about the fear of criticism. This negative bastard, this enemy, this opponent that we need to constantly be aware of and understand its trickeries and tools so that we can be better armed ourselves to take it down. And I wanted to talk about this fear today because it relates to what I'm kind of going through at the moment. Just starting something new, stepping out of my comfort zone, putting myself on, so to speak, with this little podcasting journey. I'm only, 2 episodes deep, but I don't really count the last one because it's more of just a self-intro. And I remember recording that episode the first time and listening back to it and just thinking, who would want to listen to this? I sound terrible. And that fear of criticism just crept into my mind like suddenly. And I was just like, what am I doing? But you know what? I tried again and the second take was slightly better. And that was all I needed to kind of push forward. Just noticing that little bit of progress. And even today, I have no idea how good I'm going to be, if I'm going to succeed. I don't think I'm any good right now, but I'm just doing. And that fear of criticism is definitely still there. I haven't released this publicly yet. Hopefully I can in a week's time. But yeah, and I wanted to look into this negative bastard and see how I can better push through it and overcome it. And that's how I look at these negative emotions. I look at them as enemies, as opponents. And we are going face to face. I'm going face to face with them every day. And, they are trying to stop me from living my legend or following my journey and doing what I really want to do. Yeah, so let's get into it. Let's talk a little bit about the evolution of this fear. Looking back into the history, it was a lot more extreme. Just things like religion, and if you were a non-believer, you were severely punished and cast out. And thinking about it in that sense is totally different today. And then even more recently with racism, how that's changed over the past 50 years or so, 100 years or so. I watched a pretty cool movie the other day. It was about Jackie Robinson, the first Black American baseball player to play in the major leagues. And an interesting part in the movie was when one of his teammates received a hate letter from some racist fan, just hating on him for being teammates with this Black American baseball player, Jackie Robinson. And he was a bit scared about this letter, so he took it to the team's owner and expressed his concern and worry for being teammates with Jackie Robinson. And the team owner just kind of brushed it off, did not think anything of this guy's fear, and went to a drawer and pulled out a huge stack of papers. And every piece of paper in that stack was vicious hate mail towards his teammate, Jackie Robinson. So the teammate started reading a couple of these letters, and the level of hate was just way more extreme compared to his letter. And it was things like, you're going to die, we're going to kill your family, just really, really nasty stuff like that. And it just changed the whole perspective of the white teammate's mind. And he realized that his fear was nothing in comparison to that what his black teammate Jackie Robinson was going through. I just think that was an awesome, eye-opening way to perceive the extremeness of this fear of criticism in that time, in that day. And then to where it is today, a lot has changed. We live in a time of free thinking, with social media. There's a lot more opinions out there. There's also a lot more criticism, but it might not be to that same extremeness, but it's out there more than ever, I believe, today. And even though it's not as extreme, I think it can still have the same detrimental effects on our mind and on our mindset and how we live our lives. Um, it might be small and petty, like just the notion of keeping up with the Joneses and having nice things and nice cars and nice homes. And we want to show it off on Instagram and social media. But yeah, it can become a problem if those things are outside of our income level. And a lot of the cases they are. And that's when it can be detrimental to our financial situation. Just talking about this fear as well and where it began. How did it creep into our minds? And there were two ways that I think it could have developed within us. It could have been passed down from generation to generation, from those extreme times down to where we are today. Or did it develop from our own lives personally and our own childhoods growing up amongst our friends, family and parents? Just thinking about it this way, I am a parent, so I want to think about how my kids go about facing this fear, because it can easily be planted as a child, into our minds as a child. So I want to be self-aware as a parent to be mindful of this fear within my children. If we're not, we could easily criticize our kids without realizing it subconsciously, and that can lead to inferiority complexes within our children. Just my opinion, they could be the ones growing up criticizing people on social media because of their insecurities. And I don't want that. That sucks. And so, yeah, it just put a different perspective on me as a father to uplift my children, help them to defeat this negative emotion and this fear of criticism. Even though we're all going to go through it, we're all going to have different levels of it and face it in our own way. But just being mindful of it within myself and my children is a huge step to overcoming some of the negative symptoms and impacts. And now, what are these negative symptoms of this fear? It's good to realize these and be aware of them. And it's things like, imagination, self-reliance, lack of ambition, mental and physical laziness, indecision, lack of confidence, and avoiding and running away from issues. So all of these things are negative impacts on our life which stem from the fear of criticism. If we are showing any of these symptoms within our normal day-to-day life, then we need to understand that that's the fear of criticism being sneaky and finding its way into our mind and planting its little seed. And then so how can we kind of overcome these negative impacts, these negative traits from this fear? And I know I've got like this simple idea. I know it's really simple, but it makes a lot of sense. And that is just simply to do the opposite. If we can be aware that we are lacking ambition, then go out of our way to be ambitious. If we are mentally and physically lazy, then don't be lazy. Develop habits to go work out, to read, do the opposite. Face decisions or face problems head on, instead of avoiding issues and lacking confidence and being accountable, not being accountable. So be accountable, own up, own your shit, that kind of stuff. Lack of confidence, be confident. So yeah, I know it sounds simple, but try to just do the opposite. Might be easy to remember because it's simple. And then another thing to go along with that, I believe, is being self-aware, knowing who you are and being confident in that. Because everything you do in life, if it is true to yourself and you're self-aware and it's in line with who you are as a person, then you shouldn't have any worry about what other people are going to think. And you should have confidence to stand by your decision and be brave to step out of your comfort zone. And yeah, that's a way to overcome this fear, I believe. Personally for me, I don't think I worry or have too much issues with the whole small and petty thing. I believe this fear has two levels. So to be more specific, there's that level of keeping up with the Joneses, the small and petty things where you want to have nice stuff to look cool in front of people. I'm not too, if I'm being honest with myself, I'm pretty good there. I mean, I drive a Nissan Cube. I don't know if anybody is familiar with that car, but I used to get teased and mocked all the time because it was so ugly. And everyone questioned my decision. What are you doing driving around in that thing? But man, have you driven it? You can't knock it till you try it. And, I just own it. And I love that car. And I'm not afraid to say that. Like, I just done an Instagram post about all the benefits of the Nissan Cube. And yeah. But I do still understand the higher level. And, the second level, I believe, is the more progress restricting level, and that's when you're doing things that you're passionate about, things that you love. It's harder to, because you've spent so much time in doing this, when you do come out about it and you do put it out there, that's when the fear of criticism can be a little bit scary. And that's where confidence comes into play, and looking at challenges as a process and learning from them and realizing, hey, you're okay with the criticism because you're just starting something new and you expect to learn from it, you expect to get better, and you expect to grow. That's all you really need to push forward and overcome this fear. So yeah, I think you got to be patient as well, and you got to be confident, and those are the tools to take down this enemy and overcome this opponent. So if there is one thing from this podcast, I would say as a key takeaway, it would be to not let the fear of criticism be your reason for failure. Let it be something else. And then if you do fail, realize that's a part of your journey and an opportunity to learn, to get back up and do it better the next time. So yeah, don't let your fear of criticism be the reason for failure. If it is the reason, then you haven't even taken that leap, that step forward, showing that courage to do something that you want to do, that is outside of the norm, that isn't being a sheep, so to speak, where you're just following everyone else. Step out of the paddock. Go chase that butterfly. Don't just walk around eating grass like everyone else. And that's how I look at it. That's how I look at the fear of criticism. Be true to yourself and look at it as something to overcome. It's a constant thing that can easily find its way into our minds, but if we are aware of it, we know what to do to take it down. So get it. If you would like to follow my journey or connect with me online, check me out on my blog, www.wisdomdropper.com. I'm also on social media, Snapchat, Instagram and Facebook as The Wisdom Dropper. Have an awesome week.